What's up, my GERO friends? Here we are, week 10. Hard to believe. And today is October 27th, 2024. And we're getting real close to November. You know what that means? It's time to vote, okay? So a lot of what we're talking about here is you're gonna see why putting the right people into office is so important. I'm gonna reflect a little bit on some of the policies, okay, that are being suggested by different candidates to fix some of the financial problems that we have. And specifically, we're going to be looking at um, the real issue that we have, and that is funding Social Security and Medicare, which we're not going to be able to do unless we come up with new policies, okay? And I'll get into it here in a sec, okay? Do remember, okay, around the bend, okay? What do we have going on here? In fact, I'm gonna change right now so we see it as you guys. I'm gonna view as a learner. All right, awesome. Okay, and so what's coming up here is you see right here we have we had critical thinking assignment 1 due, and you guys have done a great job. And then before you know it, we're going to have critical thinking assignment 2. All right, same drill. Three pages long, but you're also going to have to do some work. All right, you're going to have to gather data. And this one is going to be about you being financial planners. And so next week's lecture is going to really set you up in terms of that perspective. I'm going to fly right by critical thinking assignment 1, which you've already done. And then here it is, critical thinking assignment number 2, where you're going to do IRAs, Roth IRAs, 401k. So we have some calculators that you guys are going to look and see what happens when you invest your money and use the federal guidelines. Okay, there's limits that are changed every year, and then you maximize. Our goal is to convince you to maximize your investing, and look at compound interest and how exponential the growth of your money is when we have a good economy, which we do. All right. All right, so that's coming up for you guys. I just wanted to do a shout out here. We looked at some of the social inequities across the board in terms of the economics of aging. And last week we had, hopefully you guys enjoyed that video from The Economist. I'm going to click right into that here. So this right here, this is our gross domestic product. We have money coming in through workforce, okay, and spending, and then we have money going out through social services and healthcare costs. All right. So we kind of had you kind of dwell into the issues that that older Americans are going to experience, that you're going to experience, because the reality is, since we live longer, we keep adding lifespan years, 10, 15, 20 years, way beyond when government programs like Medicare and Social Security were first put into place. It's hit a breaking point, and so one of the solutions, as we come down here through here, is you got to keep working, okay? And so it spoke straight to the heart when they featured some segments from Nomadland. So many people in our country, so many, estimates are between 30% have zero retirement income. They're solely relying on Social Security, and then if we look at the spread, the people that do up to like 50% of our country have like minimal, okay? And so they have to work, and they're not competitive, and that was the whole point of that discussion. All right, awesome. So let's go. That's kind of sets things up here. I'm going to go straight into number 10. And so you should be worrying. So this is a kind of the thoughts that are going on in your head, as you're preparing for your retirement. Okay, do you have money to cover healthcare costs? So it's mind-blowing that I'll throw a number out there, but the average American in retirement age, or already retired, they're spending in excess of $7,000 a year for healthcare costs. These are out of pocket, not covered by insurance. Okay. Do you have enough savings? Okay, when you invest, what kind of risk could you take? What if my money that I saved projected out doesn't cover my expenses? Then what do I have to do? Okay, the investment portfolio is all about it. We're going to talk about it. How do you strategize in terms of your income? So you may have to adjust the lifestyle. You have to act your wage, not your age, but your wage. Okay, and change things, so that you don't run out of money. And then there's this part when you retire right here. We all have very purposeful lives. Okay, I have work that gives me a sense of purpose, and it's incredibly fulfilling. And you lose that. You lose your identity, and it's very, very depressing for a lot of people. And so there is a real need to not only project about your money, but also your life. How are you going to spend your time when you're not working? All right. So you can do really, really, really cool things. You become a painter, become a photographer. Okay. Um, you can also do a lot of volunteer work. Okay, and get a lot of fulfillment for that because there's a super big need for volunteer work. Okay, so we come down here, and so this is kind of the shock and awe that we're talking about. We're looking at Social Security. This is your discussion. It, um, is it adequate? Okay, you need to think about this to cover the economic needs of older adults. Okay, we're going to learn about how, yes, I'm going to get the maximal Social Security. Somebody that's had a low-paying job their whole lives, when you calculate it, it's calculated based on 30 years of paying into the system. But if I have paid the max into the system, so I'm going to get the maximum Social Security. Somebody that's made half as much as me or a third as me, um, they're not going to get as much. Now, they, on a percentile basis, are going to get a lot more of their income than I do because, we're going to see that, maximum Social Security, if I retire at 70, that's where I'm going to be, is in the 50,000 range. That's, far less than what my income is. Okay. All right. Um, but somebody may be making 30 grand their whole lives, and so their Social Security might be, say, 20 grand a year or 25 grand a year. So that's much closer to what they've been making, but it still doesn't cover their needs. All right. So when we look at healthcare costs are healthcare costs. They don't change. And so as a result, really expensive healthcare that we all need when we get older, it disproportionately affects older people, and it also disproportionately affects women, okay, and it disproportionately affects people that are low income earners, okay. So this is a cool report. You go in and you check it out from the Kaiser Family Foundation. Is amazing, okay. And they looked, again, the study done down in 2023, and then they look projected forward, okay. And we're looking at the out-of-pocket healthcare spending as a share of somebody's annual Social Security income. Okay, so you're not going to make a lot of money in terms of Social Security. Okay, and this is an average. Okay, so again, there's people on the low end and high end. This is an average. Okay, so here in 2013, 41% of your Social Security was being used to cover your healthcare expenditures. And it's projected that in 2030, which is right around the corner, that half of your Social Security check is going to go towards healthcare. I got all kinds of money in my 401k. I've got lots of money in terms of this house being almost paid off. Okay, but there are so many people, as we saw in the previous week, that do not have these financial resources. And so half of remember that we had a couple of examples of people that were living solely on Social Security. And now this is what they're up against. Half of their Social Security income is going towards healthcare costs. So it's a big deal, all right? So it's something that we have to think about. Now, politically, okay, this is a hot ticket item, okay? So when we look at, the Social Security tax, okay, and the Medicare tax, so Social Security tax and Medicare tax, how is this calculated, okay? So 12.4% of my income, okay? So if you're self-employed, you got to do it all. If you have an employer, I pay 6.2%. My employer, USC, pays 6.2%. Okay, and that goes into the Social Security bank account. It's called a trust, where they invest it. Okay, here's the real problem. Okay, this is we have so many more older people, and and people are living much longer, so they're going to be pulling from the Social Security system and the Medicare system, not from the age of 65 to the age of 75 where they die, but from the age of 65 to the age of 95. Okay, and we have a lot more baby boomers than we did in the previous generation, the silent generation. So this is a big issue. Okay, um, and it's been recommended. Okay, that because a big problem is um, the Social Security tax, okay, and the Medicare tax right here, okay. So Medicare is less; it's almost 3%, half from me, half from USC, okay. It caps out on this percentage at $160,200. All right, this doesn't seem right, okay, because wealthy people can continue to pay into this; they're making money, okay, but it caps out at that level, okay? Meaning if I'm making, say, 500 grand a year, my Social Security tax and my Medicare tax is only applied to the first $160,200 that I make. The rest of the money has no Social Security or Medicare taken out of it, all right? So there's this concept is that we need to kind of set up in the future kind of a new limit, okay? So let's say um, we will have this, okay? This is fine until you start making $500,000 a year. And now we're gonna start taxing anything above $500,000 a year for more Social Security and more Medicare, all right? So this ties the issue to the politics, okay? And so this is, playing out, and you gotta listen to both all candidates and see how they're speaking to this, all right? Okay. So we have a couple of videos here, all right, which is always cool. This explains the Social Security system, all right. It was done in 2012, okay. It does not appreciate, meaning that it didn't wrap into the video the concept that this Social Security Trust Fund, which is something that again we all our money when the government collects it, it puts it into. It's kind of like a Fidelity account, okay. It's the government's version, and they invest it, okay. Right now. The principal is shrinking because they're having to pull out so much to pay so many retirees. So it's going to disappear. And so even the money coming in is not going to pay the money that goes out. And that's where the breaking point is. Okay. So, um, so this breaking point is in 2023, and then it's supposed to go bust in 2033, I think, or something like that. Okay. Alrighty, so this again explains Social Security system. This is a much longer video, but it's 2020, and it really it goes down to current issues. So check it out. Really well done by CNBC. Right? You guys need to understand this for sure. All right. So then you come back up here and you just you again you look in your prompt about the adequacy of the system. Yeah, you guys are all going to do well, but there's so many Americans that are not, okay? So that's what you're speaking to in your discussion. Awesome, okay? So here we go in terms of economic preparation for retirement. What we did is we recently revamped this, and we're drawing from some of the best articles that were out there, okay? And what it does is it's just sizing up, okay, all of America, all right? Next week, we're going to get in there and we're going to I'm going to guide you into how to start your financial planning, okay? We're going to set you up in terms of doing either IRAs or Roth IRAs. What does that mean, okay? We're going to set you up in terms of when you go out on a job interview asking for 401ks, 403bs, does the company match? How much do they match? We're going to learn all about that, okay? And then there are limits on these, and so we're going to also explain to you about setting up your own account. Does not protected under the tax shield, but still worth investing in. These are called brokerage accounts, right? So that's what's coming up here. So we look at all these different accounts, okay, all these financial tools, and we go through America and say, what is going on here, okay? How well is America doing? And that's what this is all about. So I have a slide deck right here, okay, that you can go to, and then it's all reiterated right here. So I'm just going to go boom, boom, boom through the images that we've put into the Brightspace page, okay? All right, so we're going to look at the broad social implications, okay, of our country, so that we understand how well everybody is doing from all segments of society, okay? What percentage of U.S. population is saving for retirement, all right? When we look across generation, how does it differ, okay? What percentage of the U.S. is relying solely on Social Security benefits for the retirement? What does that all mean? Okay, how well does this is the what does it all mean? How well does this cover the cost of living? And obviously, it's below poverty level, so it doesn't. Okay. Um, when we look about across age groups, what is it, you guys are a lot of you guys are B majors. You're going to be setting up. You're going to be a financial planner, okay, economic advisor, and so what you need to do is you set up budgets and you look at expenditures, okay, and you inform your client, okay, and then you tell them, well, this is how much you need to save through your retirement accounts in order to meet your budget in terms of your spending, okay? Alrighty, and then we're going to talk about the goals that you guys should have, and also goals of younger people. All right, alrighty. So this is the first article right here. It's really well done. It's from Wall Street Journal. My slide deck has all the figures. Okay, and it says here's what retirement looks like in America. And we look at 6 different charts. Okay, so we'll look right here, like at chart 1. Okay, alrighty. We already know this, okay? So by 2030, more than 1 in 5 Americans will be over the age of 65, all right? So right here, bam, bam. And you see the projections are to go up and up and up, okay? People live longer. It is what it is, okay? So that means there's gonna be a lot more people that are be in retirement age. All right, this is not news to you, okay? All right, so we look at each generation, each age group, okay? We ask ourselves, the average household retirement savings account by age, okay? What's the balance? Now, the big deal here is average. Certain people like me are gonna skew the average, okay? Jeff Bezos skews the average, okay? Elon Musk skews the average, okay? So people that are wealthy, they have billions of dollars. I don't have billions of dollars, okay? So we see right here that we'll focus on the retirement age, but you can look over here at your future age, okay? You're not earning enough to invest yet, so that's why it's minimal, okay? All right, we're over here. We see 65 years or older. On average is 400,000, okay? That sounds pretty good, but that's on average. So now let's break down, let's say we lined up all the Americans, okay, that are 65 to 74 years of age, and we ask the question, what is the middle, the median? It gives you a better picture of the distribution, okay? So the median right here, and this is not a retirement saving, this is the net worth. So the net worth is looking at, I got a couple of cars out here in my garage that have value. I have my house, okay? I have my 401k, I have my brokerage accounts, okay? Maybe I have some real estate, okay? All of that is my net worth, okay? So it's not just the retirement account that we see here. And then we ask the question in America, what is the median? What's the middle when we look at the distribution of people, okay? And we see here that we can go between 65 and older. Why not do that? And we see the net worth is pretty close to about 250,000. All right, that's not a lot of money. Okay, it's not going to carry you through the cost of living if you live to 95. Okay, we see it smaller and smaller and smaller here. Okay, that a lot of people don't have home ownership, so they're not going to have the asset that is this home. Okay, so I have tons of equity in this house that I can rely upon. Right, so a lot of people are hurting. So yes, this is the middle point, but there's so many people down here that have next to nothing, and that's the important part to remember. Okay, all right. So let's say, all right. I don't have any retirement income, all right? So I'm over here on the slow end. What is it I'm going to be living on? Well, I'm hoping I can live on Social Security, okay? A lot of people, that run their own businesses also, may not claim as much. Okay, so they're living, basically hand to mouth, thinking, "Oh, I'll deal with Social Security later," and then that can come back and really um, make life difficult for them later on down the line. All right, so we're looking at here. This is the average indexed. Okay, so again, we're going to learn how we index Social Security. Okay, it's all based on your income. I've put a lot more Social Security in than somebody who's only been making $35,000 a year. So I get a much smaller percentage of what I put in, okay? A much smaller percentage based on my income, whereas other people, they're going to get a higher percentage, okay? So it's indexed based on your income and also by how much you've put in over a 35-year period, okay? So the average benefit in our country is only $1,800 a month. That's mind blowing, okay? Alrighty. So and a small percentage are making this much. Okay, now what can we do to maximize this Social Security benefit? Okay, this is at the official retirement age of 66.7 years of age. Well, you'll get $3,627 a month, which comes out to $43,524 a year. Okay, if you retire early, then there's a penalty. All right, every month you retire earlier from this, there is a percentage taken away. Okay, so it's to the point that instead of making $3,600 a month, you'll be making $2,500 a month, and you compare the annual Social Security income of 43 plus change here to 30,000, almost $31,000. So that's a big hit, if this is all you're living on. So retiring earlier, if you have a job, that's a big no-no. Okay, now like me, okay, I'm going to be working probably to like, I don't know, maybe 72. So I'm 68 right now, so I could be in this range right now, but I'm not even going to touch my Social Security. And then when I turn 70, I'll start drawing. I'm still going to be working, all right, because there's no benefit not to draw, but I'll be getting my maximum, which will be close to $55,000 a year. So when I turn 70, boom, it's like I get a $55,000 a year raise. Okay, that's gonna fit that 55 grand is gonna bump me into a new tax bracket because when you combine that with my salary from UFC, boom, I'm gonna be paying more taxes. But that's okay. This is first world issues, right? Okay, cool. All right, so now when we look at for those people that do have some type of investment, and there's like I said, there's 30 to 40% of our country have no investment, all right? So they're not even in this figure, all right? All right, so if we look at what's going on here in terms of investment strategies right here. So this is a defined contribution where I define how much I'm taking from my salary and putting it into a retirement account, like a Fidelity, like a Vanguard, like a Morgan Stanley, something like that. Okay. I don't like calling it a pension, but in this government publication, they call it a pension. Right? It is what it is. Okay. This is from the Federal Reserve Board. Okay, so this is an official government publication. You can go in here and check it out if you want to. All right. This is where it came from, and this was an article done in 2022. All righty. For people that have saved, okay, how much of how many of them have savings, okay, not in retirement accounts, so 50%. This is called an individual retirement account, okay? So this is a separate category. So this would be the 401k, okay, and 403b, and this is a separate category. And then this is for people that are government employees. Very small percentage where you get a true pension, and you'll get a large percentage of what your income was during the last couple years of your employment, and you get that until the day you die. All right, so guaranteed income stream, only for the government type employees. So this would be city workers, congressmen, senators, firefighters, police officers. These are people that get the pensions. Okay, other retirement savings, real estate investments. Okay, and then we have the none. Like I said, the 25% of people that have nothing. All right. All right, so then in this article, they then also ask people about, how you stand, okay? Again, this is ask the question, do you have any retirement savings whatsoever? We did it by age, race, ethnicity, and whether or not you have a disability, all right? So we come in here, we start by age, okay? And we see here 87% said they had something in terms of retirement savings, okay? Then they ask the question, if you do you have enough, okay? And we see that most people say no. 50% of the people that have retirement savings are saying, I don't have enough, okay? We can then look at racial inequality in this, okay? We can look at white, black, Hispanic, and Asian, okay? And any retirement savings, and the majority of whites said yes. But then we see down here, there's this inequality down here in terms of Black Americans and Hispanic Americans. And then, do you have enough? And only 26% said yes in the Black and Hispanic groups. Okay, about 50% in terms of white and Asian groups. Okay, the real sad one down here is then looking at, do you have a disability? And people that have disabilities, almost half of them have no savings, and only 17% said they felt adequately prepared. All right, awesome. Sorry. Okay, continue on here. Okay, so this is another right here from the U.S. Census Bureau publication. So we're looking down here. Okay, we're going to look at retirement account ownership by demographic. Okay, do you own a retirement account? All right, so 60% of baby boomers said yes. That means 40% no. Okay, we see obviously when you're younger generation like you guys, only 7%. Okay, but we see a lot. There's I see the percentage that does, but I always think about the percentage that doesn't. Okay, men versus women, men outpace women. Okay, and again we see the disparity. Okay, in terms of ethnicity and inequities in terms of this. Okay, so we see that white alone, Hispanic about 53%, and then we come down here to the different ethnic groups that have far less percentages that are participating in retirement. Okay, alrighty. So this this is from the Wall Street Journal article. And again, when you think about where people are in terms of their income, and again, the reality is this is the average healthcare cost by age. Okay, it's not going. This is the insurance premium. So traditional American Medicare costs money. I'm not going to get into the different types of HMO or health maintenance organizations for Medicare, because it's a really complicated formulation that they have, and most people, if they can get it, will take traditional Medicare. Okay, it's the Medicare Advantage plans or the HMOs, and they're fraught with problems. So most is the premium, how much I pay every month to have my Medicare. This is the cost of services. This would be doctor visits, co-pays with surgeons, on and on and on and on. Okay, drugs right here. Okay, Medicare D, and then supplies. All right. So we see that if you don't have income, you're going to be in a world of hurt. All right. All right. So this is another really cool article from the World Economic Forum, and what I'm doing is I'm pulling from it. So now we're looking at budgeting. Okay, so we see again, here's that number. Okay, so the average spending on healthcare, this is done in 2021. Okay, and what percentage that was of their total spending. So I'm spending money on gas, going to the movies, okay, rent, blah blah blah, and then this right here was again, this was on average. Now some people, this instead of being 16%, this could be 50% like we saw before. Okay. All right, and we can look across the generations. And then we come down here, okay, and we're looking at, again, this is the World Economic Forum article, and we're looking at the total spending by generation, okay. This is on average, okay, and we see that we're coming down here, Gen Zs, you're spending annually at least 41,000, maybe more. Okay, that's on average. Some of you guys may be spending 100 grand a year, 200 grand a year. Okay, on average for this is the age group, and you see that expenditures go up and up and up. Okay, as you start marching into the older age groups. So these guys right here are in their 40s and 50s, and so they're just they're spending, 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 and then the spending goes down as you get older. Okay. That being said, you have less income here, so it's a very, very slippery slope. Okay. Alrighty. This one right here is again this World Economic Forum. Again, if you notice, find the original article. It's right in here. Okay, if you want to. This is all what's on the slide deck. All right. We come down here to the World Economic Forum, and it then asks how much Americans are spending on housing, rent, mortgage payment, etc., by generation. Okay. So Gen Z, this is on average. If we were looking at LA, you'd be spending a lot more, all right? You wouldn't be spending 15 grand. No, you're more likely to spend 25 grand for housing, okay? Because of the cost of rent out here, okay? If your ownership, your mortgage is going to be enormous out here. So, but this is average across America, okay? And we see that out here, okay, the cost of housing right here is pretty significant for my generation, close to $22,000 a year. And what a percentage of your total expenditure. So I'm paying for gasoline, my car payment, and this is looking at my housing payment, and it's approaching 35%. All right, so this is all stuff you have to think about in terms of your budgeting. Okay, all righty. How about entertainment? Okay, I keep talking about that. So we see this is my housing up in the mid 30s. My entertainment right here across the board is between 4 and 6% of my total spending. All right, some of us spend a lot more, but this is average across generations. Okay, awesome. Okay, this is I got these final values from this CNBC article. How much money you should have saved at every age? Okay, for you guys. Okay, so I'm 68. All right, so I had better have 10 times my income. All right, I'm working on it. All right. You see right here by age 30, you should have saved your annual salary. So if you earn 55 grand that year, you should have 55 saved into a retirement account or a brokerage account. Okay. So by age 40, the goal should be 3 times your income. Age 50, 6 times your income. This is to set you up so that when you do retire, you'll be able to live comfortably. Awesome. So I know this is a lot for you guys to wrap your head around, right? But there's no time like the present to start thinking about it. And then also, you have the perspective of our country, and there's a lot of haves and a lot of have-nots, and this is where the politics come in, because we're a compassionate society, and people that are living hand to mouth, that cannot afford rent, that cannot afford healthcare. What are we going to do? All right, guys. Peace. Go Dodgers. Okay. We've won 2 games. Okay. How about Freddie Freeman, man? He was awesome. Okay. And we'll see you guys next week.